Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thanksgiving is behind us. We are on to Christmas. College football conference championships are set, and we are back to give you the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, live from Atlanta, joined by your host, Wade Julian, live from New York City. Big Kev Shot will join us momentarily. You are now tuned into your number one sports talk show, All Things Sports, on the All Things Sports Network, brought to you by Small Town Productions. Ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet. June, how was your Thanksgiving, man?
Good man, good man. I hope yours was as well. I got to spend time with my family up here and just watch mad football. All I did was watch football this weekend. So uh, it's always a win in my book when I could watch football, especially willingly. And so that's what I did, and I ate good as well, obviously. So just real thankful for being able to you know keep on with the keep on and have a good Thanksgiving while we at it. So how was yours, bro?
It was great, man. Watched some football, hung out with some family. Can never complain when those are
Yeah,
the vibes. You know what I mean? Very
yeah.
blessed and highly favored. But a lot of football, like you said. Let's get right into it. Thanksgiving Day, we watched a 30-second, to be exact, 24-second meltdown in Detroit with Chicago and Detroit. What a game it was. The Bears did cover their line. Shout out to the Bears for covering their line. Now, who we're not going to shout out, Matt Eberflus out as head coach after just one of the most horrendous, most fireable offenses to let the clock hit quadruple zeros with a timeout in hand down by 3 within field goal range. Caleb Williams went to the line. He was rolling up his sleeves. June. I thought he had the play of the year drawn up, bro. Obviously, that didn't happen. They fall by 3, 20-23 in Detroit. Detroit remains moves on to 11-1 and 5-1 at home. Now, June, over in Chicago, you're gonna have Caleb Williams with two head coaches in 2 years, three offensive coordinators. Once they more than likely hire a new one in this offseason. Does Chicago as an organization have what it takes to develop Caleb Williams?
I think I think most importantly, you need a head coach who can put things around and be a voice to make things work and have a vision. Obviously, the general manager is really, really where it starts. But I don't think Ryan Poles is a bad general manager. He's trying to put a team around Caleb Williams, and the Bears aren't a bad team. They have a good roster. They just got to figure some things out. So to answer your question, I do think they can because history will tell you they can't. Right now, whether that's the prospect at quarterback they have at the moment, where he's good enough to be the franchise guy or not. I don't know that the Bears have had that, but they also haven't treated what they have had, you know, the best either. So um, if the Bears want to do right by Caleb Williams, Kev will hate this, but I think Ben Johnson will be the best option. I also would like Rex Ryan, even though he would want to go to the Jets. I don't know how Kev feels about that. I'm eager to hear what he thinks about like a Rex Ryan reunion. But Rex Ryan, I mentioned his name because hearing him and how hungry he sounds like he wants to get back into coaching, especially for the Jets, I can just feel that fire is back. And um, a generational, quarterback talent prospect is what we're talking about here. And I think Rex Ryan would know. I can't say exactly what to do with his development, but I think he would know who to call, and make the right judgments toward developing a quarterback like him. But again, Ben Johnson would be the first easy answer where I'm like, yeah, you give this guy him as a coach and let Ben Johnson figure that one
Uh, the issue I have with that on my end is you would be in a season where you're developing quarterback, and then Ben Johnson's never he's been a coordinator, he's never been a head coach. At that point, you're
out.
sort of developing a head coach at the same
Right.
time. I think that can get a little sticky with the situation like that Caleb Williams is in. Like you were saying, history is going to tell us that this was doomed from the start. As exciting as it may have been originally, I don't know if I can answer the question honestly, because it's tough to say. Like, do they have what it takes to develop a quarterback? I mean,
It's easy to say no. It's easy to say
yeah.
no. And to the, I was thinking back to Kev, like, would it be fair to throw Ben Johnson in the New York Jets debacle? Like, does he want to start his head coaching career there either? I mean, I try with the quarterback. They're giving me a Shane Steichen type deal where, you're giving me the quarterback and the playbook and, the reins, I guess. But to go to MetLife, nobody wins at MetLife. So it's like, I don't know who's going to be the next guy there. I can't wait till Kev joins us in a little bit because I want to talk about those Jets.
Yeah, let's actually, what we're going to do when we come back, are we witnessing the end of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta? What have the Steelers, if anything, proved in their first 3 weeks of divisional play? And how close is San Francisco's championship window for the foreseeable future? We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Welcome back. We are back. We are back. And Kev has joined us. Kev, happy, I guess, belated Thanksgiving. Glad to see you. Glad to see you back. Glad to have you back. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with the fam. But let's get right into the football. The
I
Falcons
appreciate
over here. Yeah, of course. The Falcons. The Falcons just not looking good. Kirk Cousins throws 4 interceptions, including the game kind of losing interception, essentially. Are we close and or witnessing the end of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, Kev?
I mean, that would be what was the contract that he signed in the offseason? Was it 3 years? 90? No, what 3 years?
Like
What was the
100 million.
contract? Yeah, 100
Mm.
something million. So that would be crazy if after 1 year that's the case. But uh, they did also draft Michael Penix. So they are, I think, in a bit of a situation where it's like, okay, maybe the expectation of having Kirk Cousins come here for a year or the next few years isn't looking how we thought it would look, and they get right to the kid. But uh, I'm, you guys know, I'm one of the biggest preachers of patience when it comes to football, and to throw a guy who, even though he's a vet and he's been good everywhere he's gone, uh, coming off the Achilles injury, I don't think it was fair to ask him to turn that football team around the way they're asking him to do it. So be interesting situation this offseason for sure in Atlanta.
4 years, 180 million.
Thank you. That's way
Yeah,
more
we
than I
knew it
thought.
was crazy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I guess for me, I don't think it's the end of Atlanta and Kirk Cousins because to Kev's point, that would be just pretty crazy to have blown this up so fast. Now, if the regression continues in the manner in which it has been going downhill over the last 3 weeks, almost a month now, how the turnovers have piled on and the lack of production has been, you can look to the end of Kirk Cousins' season, in his first year, or like you can look to the trial run. And Kev, you make that face, and I get it because it sounds crazy. But what I mean by season is like, and what I meant by his regression in the way it has, I think in the last 3 weeks he's thrown like 6 or 7 interceptions with no touchdowns, and that's if he does that for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't know that we see Kirk Cousins again because at that point, are they even in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean they're in first place right now, with a pretty good division record and
Uh-huh.
one division game left. So um, it's tough because, like, again, like I'm a big believer in patience, and I just think if you're sitting Penix more than half the season, let him sit the rest of the season, regardless of what the outcome is.
Yeah.
Let Kirk finish out this season. You don't need to create more of what's already going to come in this offseason, because in the
Yeah.
offseason the question is going to come. Why create more controversy? If Penix goes out there and kills it and you make the playoffs, then what happens? Like, are you sticking with Penix in the playoffs? Or are you going back to Kirk in the
Better
playoffs?
stick with him.
Yeah, you got. I mean, but Kirk got you in the position to be in a position
Right.
to be in the playoffs in the first
Right.
place. So,
Right.
and if Penix goes out and struggles game one in the playoffs,
Hey,
then all the
Carson
questions goes
Wentz
up.
and Nick Foles. We've seen it before, and obviously, I know Nick Foles is definitely a veteran quarterback who's been there, had experience. But and I get you. I agree with you. I'm trying to play a little devil's advocate here with the Michael Penix situation because you don't want to pile on to the bullshit that would be there in Atlanta. This was a lot of hype around this team this offseason with the weapons they have, the pieces they added, and the quarterback that they signed to that contract. I think that if they just go back to doing what Kirk Cousins is comfortable with and making it easy for him, that would be their best bet.
I need somebody to find out who hates Kyle Pitts in the Atlanta Falcons organization, because the way he gets nothing is.
I've been saying this for like 4 weeks now, 5 weeks maybe.
It's like they've started to come around on Bijan because he's been getting more use than, like, I thought he should have been getting from the beginning of when you draft a running back 7th overall. But
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is like, is nowhere to be found. I don't understand it.
Yeah, man. Kirk Cousins, like you were saying, June, last 3 games, he's thrown 6 interceptions, no touchdowns.
Four of them did come yesterday. To be fair,
Fair. 4 of them, and
Four
but all
interceptions in one game is fucking crazy.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
ridiculous. I'll tell you what, man. You're on the road at Minnesota next week, Minnesota, as we say.
So,
If you lose that game, you gotta bench him. You gotta bench Kirk. At that
ooh,
point,
gotta bench
you
Kurt. I
gotta.
think gotta bench.
Minnesota's 10-2.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
saying I
I
expect
think
them to win. I'm just saying when you more than likely lose at that point. I know that Raheem. We've seen the trend of
what's their record right now?
the
Atlanta.
Falcons six
I
and
think
six,
they're at,
six and six at 500.
and the
They're
Saints
tied
are what, 4 or 5?
4-8. The Bucks are 6-6 though, tied
Bucks,
with
yeah,
the Falcons.
but Atlanta has a game up on them.
Yeah, they beat them in the.
And all right, so let's real quick before we move on to the next one. What's the rest of the schedule for the Falcons?
They're on the road in Minnesota, on the road in Las Vegas, at home versus the Giants, on the road in Washington, at home versus Carolina.
They should win 3 of those games.
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers should win. They got at home versus the Raiders, on the road versus the Chargers, on the road versus the Cowboys, so at home versus the Cowboys, and then at home versus the Panthers, at home versus Saints. So, I mean, those are all winnable games, with the Chargers game being the tough game. However, I want to talk about the Chargers real quick, since we're not going to talk about them too long, but the Chargers are 2-4 versus teams 500 and over. And yesterday being that second win against a team who threw 4 interceptions and has been struggling the last few weeks and is a division leader by default at this point. But the Buccaneers have a good chance to win this division. So to E's point,
The Bucks would have to finish with a better record. They can't tie because they've lost
Yeah.
twice
and they
to
right,
Atlanta.
and they can because this is a very beatable team in Atlanta right now.
The Big Show.
This is a very beatable team in Atlanta. And my thing is, like, I understand we don't need to push it in the first year for them to be the biggest playoff team and threat, but I thought this team should make the playoffs with the weapons they have and what they did this offseason, getting the quarterback around them. Now, I understand the Bucks are the threat in that division for sure, but it looked exciting. It was expensive, and they're at 6-6 right now. So
let's take it over to Pittsburgh, where Mike Tomlin, for an 18th straight season, has a winning record. Is not going to finish with a losing record, and crazy feat, if you ask me. Some people want to downplay it. I think it's marvelous. It's magnificent. Now, we just talking about a couple weeks ago, they were starting division play around week 9, if I'm not mistaken. Week 8 or 9, they were starting division play. Since then, they've gone 2-1 in 3 divisional games. June, have they proven anything in these last 3 games?
yeah, I think the Steelers have proven the fact that they can beat you at your game, they can beat you at their game, they can beat you. They didn't prove that they can beat you in the snowing conditions in Cleveland. They didn't prove that, but they did prove that they can win anyway. And so, knowing that they were going to come in and be able to dominate defensively and even get some points on defense at times, create a lot of extra offensive possessions and run the ball, we knew they'd be able to do that. The question was, is Justin Fields, if he starts, going to be able to stretch the ball downfield? And if when Russell Wilson comes in, is he going to be able to do it? And the answer is yes. I mean, he threw for 400 yards yesterday, and they whooped the Bengals. It was a good game, but they whooped the Bengals at the end of the day. So, I mean, yeah, they did lose to the worst team in the division, being the Browns, but they also beat the best team in the division, who was at the time, because that title now belongs to the Steelers. So again, I do think they did prove that, and the fact that they are a true playoff contender. I think that nobody wants to go to Pittsburgh, in December, January, and have to like play to win. That's tough.
Yeah, so in those last three games, they won against the Ravens and then lost on the road to the Browns, won on the road this week to the Bengals. They have the Browns at home next week. What are you expecting out of this next week's game against the Browns, Kev?
Um, I expect them to get their get back and uh and beat the Browns. If I mean that'll tell like if they come in and they just beat the brakes off of the Browns, then I think that sends a message like
Yeah.
we slipped up and but
No pun
you know
intended.
yeah and but now you gotta come to our house and play us and we're gonna get back what we lost 2 weeks ago. So I think we talked about it last week. Like Mike Tomlin is the Eric Spoelstra of the NFL. Like he is the one of, if not the best coaches. Probably Andy Reid has a little bit to say about that, but uh, Mike Tomlin I think is the most like underappreciated, overlooked coach in the NFL. One as an assistant, ended up becoming a head coach, won a championship that way. With a team that a lot of people considered to be Bill Cowher's, in the same way like Spo considered like people kind of discredit Spo's championship because LeBron and Wade and Bosh. Like they continue to prove why they're such good coaches and continue to not get the respect that they should. And so congratulations to Mike Tomlin, 18 years, 18 consecutive years in the NFL, non-losing record is insane. Like
Facts.
regardless of if he's won one Super Bowl, I'm as a Jets fan, I can confidently say, like, I would much rather my team be in position to make the playoffs every year and not win it than just not be in it at all. Because you get to week 8, 9, and the season's over. And so for Steelers fans, they don't know what that is. They've had a great coach even before Tomlin with Cowher. So, but congratulations to Mike Tomlin on that because
And
that's
before Cowher, but
and has never done it. And he's never done it with after Ben, who's been his quarterback. He's done it with a quarterback carousel. You don't see that in the NFL, so I think he needs a lot more respect than he gets these days. But yeah, so congratulations to Mike Tomlin. If I can though, speaking of the Jets, because I was listening before I jumped in. The Ben Johnson thing. So I think the Jets actually have an advantage over the Bears. Ben Johnson's a loyal guy. He could have taken a head coaching job this year, decided to go back to the Lions. If he's ready for a head coaching job this year, do you think he's going to want to go to a division rival, or is that going to be too much, emotions mixed into that? So I don't know. The Jets might have a leg up in that one, but it's
Oh,
like,
brother.
yeah.
oh
But
brother.
watching the Jets every week is like a punishment nobody should have to endure.
Yeah.
They say all gas, no brakes. No shit, there's no brakes. You get the brakes beat off you every week. So that's my
That's what you
take
got.
on the Jets this
Kev,
week.
real quick on that Ben Johnson tip. I think that pause. I think that he is as competitive as Dan Campbell himself. And with that competitive nature and spirit, he would love to go to a division rival and beat up his division arch nemesis. But
Let's play
and
each
make a
other.
name for himself through history while doing so.
Let's just play each other in the Super Bowl. How about that? Let's just.
No.
I mean, look, I'm all for anything or anybody that will help the Jets. So
I'm
not
also
here to help the Bears.
You also mentioned Rex Ryan. You will not find a bigger Rex Ryan believer than me. I think John Idzik screwed him out of his job because he wanted his own coach and depleted the roster for Rex.
Yeah.
But
How about Rex Ryan, head coach, Ben Johnson, OC? No,
Mm.
yeah, I don't think Ben Johnson is leaving Detroit
I know,
unless it's
I
for a
know,
head
I
coaching
know,
position.
I
But
know.
sign me up.
Hey, yo, shout out to Brill in the chat. He's been rocking with us for a little minute. Appreciate you tapping in. Said that he bet on your Jets and that he's sick, Kev, and he's shouting out the Colts for holding it down. Hey, listen, contrary to popular belief, I mean, even though the popular belief is true, I did bet on the Bengals this weekend, and yeah, I know I talk a lot of shit about. That's probably why I lost money, because are you talking a lot of shit about that man Joseph? All right, let's take it over to San Francisco. where they lost last night. Wow. Against the Bills in what's arguably a Josh Allen MVP ceiling game. But we'll get to
Mm,
MVP talk
mm.
a little later. Uh, the Niners, it's just not looking good for them. Brock Purdy saying this is not up to standard that we're used to playing. They've been dropping games left and right. This is a team that in the past, if I'm not mistaken, the stat is 3 years has played 12 playoff games, or 4 years, sorry, has played 12 playoff games with nothing to show for it. That's June. That's damn near an extra season worth of playoff games with nothing to show for. Kev, is the 49ers championship window closed for the foreseeable future?
It'd be crazy to say it's closed because they still have talent. They still have the coaching. Um, Shanahan has gone to the Super Bowl now with two different quarterbacks, one being Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's hard to say that the window is closed or closing, but it's closing on this season. Um, so McCaffrey got hurt again yesterday. He just like is the reason in every fantasy draft I had number one pick in
Yeah,
two drafts this year. He stayed healthy all last year, and it's like his history has said he's an injury prone running back, and for him to stay healthy all last season, it just felt like this year was going to be a year where it just wasn't going to go well for him. And unfortunately, because he is one of the most exciting players in the league when he is healthy,
right.
so it's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's kind of like what happened to them the year after they made the Super Bowl the first time. Like the
Yeah,
next year they came in and everybody was getting hurt. Like
yeah.
you lost Ayuk for the season. You basically haven't had McCaffrey for the season. And Jordan Mason's done a great job stepping in and taking on that role. But
Actually, really good.
he's but I mean he's not Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
And
he's also out now for 4 weeks at least. He's on the IR now with the high ankle sprain.
yeah, so I mean everybody in San Francisco, Purdy was out last week. Like they are going through it on that side. And to your point, like 12 games in 4 years takes a toll on you. Like having to play 12 extra games over those 4 years, a lot of these guys have been on those teams. It starts to take a toll, and I think we're seeing that this year. So hopefully, and I expect them to next year come back and pick up where they left off last year. But I do think that this was inevitable for this team this year. Just too much football going on in the last few years for them, and I think it's catching up to them.
Last three games, they've lost 35 to 10, 38 to 10, 20 to 17. Whew. June, what do you think about this? Niners championship window closed?
I absolutely do think it is closed, man. And so, Kev, it's like for me, it's like they're only getting older, and now Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, to me, are their two best offensive and most explosive offensive weapons. Debo Samuel is hit or miss. When he's on, he's on. And I say that so lightly. Like we're talking Super Bowl caliber, right? Like Debo Samuel is an all pro. Debo Samuel is great. I'm not taking away from his game. But he's inconsistent, and whether that be because of the offensive game plan or Brock Purdy or him himself, whatever that be, I think George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are the two most solidified offensive units on that team. And Brock Purdy has proven that he's not that guy, right? Like he's not that guy. I was trying to ride the Brock Purdy hype train early this season where it was like, nah, bro, Brock Purdy really could, and eh, he's just a game manager. He is. And so that's not to say he's a bad quarterback. That's not to say I wouldn't want him on my team or anything, but he's not going to go get that win. And so with Ayuk being out and always hurt, with Samuel always dealing with an injury, with Kittle getting older and now getting banged up, McCaffrey always dealing with injuries and getting older as a running back, which I guess that doesn't matter if you're Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry doesn't go through this much body ache. And Derrick Henry doesn't get as many touches, so it makes sense. But whatever be the case, how much longer do they even have with this core financially and physically? And so not to say Kyle Shanahan can't lead another group of young guys or a good group of guys that they were able to make some trades or draft well real quick, but the defense ain't even the same from the last 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, and it's not dominating week by week. So for me, this when you say this window, I think that they're not going to win this year. I don't believe they'll win next year. And at that point, we're seeing a lot of rising young quarterbacks around the league and teams just getting better. So who's going to win the Super Bowl in 3 years? I don't know. But would I put my money right now that it would be, them?
The
You feel me?
49ers.
The 49ers, yeah. Them, them. San Francisco, you feel me? That's all.
Yeah, Brock Purdy underwhelming definitely this season. It also for me it has to come down to I get all the injuries and them having a whole extra team
Hey,
and roster.
real quick. Go ahead.
No, I get them having a whole extra team on the IR and I just think Kyle Shanahan as well, man. Like you're just not that coach either. Just like Brock Purdy is not that guy. You're just not that coach, bro. You're just not that coach. And I don't think it's happening.
I don't agree, Kev. I'm just laughing.
No. I'm saying, how many times do you have to blow a Super Bowl for people to understand that? There's been 3 Super Bowls that you had a fourth quarter. Atlanta, he was the offensive coordinator, blew that lead to the Patriots. Then twice to the Chiefs. Fourth quarter leads in every single Super Bowl. Like at some point, and to the, like we talked about it with Tomlin, like people. There's teams who would kill to be in that position of being in 2 or 3 Super, having your
losing
coach
them shit.
Yeah, but the goal is also to win them. And at some point, you got to figure out, all right, where do we take that next? Where do we make that? Tomlin has won. Tomlin's done it before, so he has that benefit. Shanahan hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, no, that's true. Bro in the chat, shout out to Unc. He said, shout out Kev EP and nephew. Bro said Unc a Nets fan. Because he got the Brooklyn Nets logo on the profile, which is funny. Nah, I'm gonna let him answer for himself. I'm not gonna answer about his team or anything like that. I know he fuck with Saquon Barkley and Patrick Mahomes and them boys.
Hey,
but
speaking of now you're good. Speaking of Saquon Barkley, man, damn near through week 13, Saquon Barkley in the fourth quarter alone has damn near 1,000. I think it's just over 1,000 yards in the fourth quarter alone. Ridiculous stats in June as he secured his MVP front runner.
Damn, that's you, Strictly.
I thought you were gonna go to Kev first on this one. Not gonna lie, I wanted to hear his answer, but
I go first.
But he came to me. Natural, it's okay. I don't think he's the front right now. I believe Josh Allen has solidified his front runner for the MVP best statement over the 49ers who kept the Super Bowl window still open right now. I'm just kidding. I know that. But Josh Allen to me, and I hate that it is the quarterback award, right? I'm not using it in that sense, how I'm looking at it. Because when you take Saquon off the Eagles, they wouldn't be as dominant as they have. They might not have ripped off on this 8-game win streak, right? And they certainly would have lost a couple games here and there without the lack of offensive production. But somebody could have filled that gap to the extent of good, serviceable run game, and they still have a bunch of weapons around with a great offensive line and a great quarterback. The Bills lost everybody on offense as far as weapons, and somehow, some way, through Superman, Allen, he's been able to not turn the ball over. He's been able to, figure out distribution, and then they went and got Amari Cooper, an all-pro #1 wide receiver, who helped him make the play of the year last night with that catch and toss to the quarterback to help Josh Allen become the only player or like the second player in NFL history to throw for a touchdown He's had over. He's about at 2,700 yards right now. 20 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. I don't have his rushing stats up, but his rushing stats probably look a little something good too. And
Small town.
right now, if Josh Allen wasn't playing on a
Damn,
week-to-week
that's you
basis for the Bills,
strictly.
they wouldn't be winning games. That's just plain and simple. And so you could have said that last year, right, about Josh Allen and the Bills and them not winning a game when he's their quarterback. But to me, just and I hate to say it because I'm gonna give it to Saquon. Like this is still up in the air. Josh Allen didn't win the MVP in my eyes, but I think that he solidified himself as it's his to lose now. Lamar's last week for me was, or last time we recorded, it's been a little bit, was up here. They played the Eagles. Now Saquon took that Lamar, and then it's Josh Allen over here, and I think Josh Allen just has an upper hand by that. Kev, what do you think?
So I think just like in general, the question is like it's Josh Allen is the front runner because this is a quarterback award. But if you ask me who's the most valuable player been, this is the same exact Eagles team that we saw last year, minus Jason Kelsey and Cam Jurgens moving from guard to center and plugging Mekhi Becton in at guard. So same exact team other than that, everywhere. Wide receiver, offensive line, like I just talked about, tight end, quarterback. The only difference is Saquon Barkley is the running back, and he's DeAndre Swift had a 1,000-yard year last year. Like he didn't have a bad year. To your point, like anybody can come in with that offense and do a good job. Saquon's doing a hell of a job. Like Saquon is going above and beyond that job that you want from a running back. So for me personally, Saquon has been the MVP. Um, Josh Allen, I think, has had a great season, phenomenal, and I understand why they would have him be the MVP if the season ends today because it is a quarterback award because it's probably the most important position on the field. But when you look at what Saquon is doing in Philadelphia and that team, that we didn't know their identity last year. Like that was, I think, the biggest thing with that team is what is their identity? What do they do well? We know what they do well this year. They're going to run the ball and they're going to play defense, and that's what they did. They started the game out terribly in Baltimore yesterday on defense. We saw C.J. Gardner-Johnson get the defense together, rally them together, and from that point on, they gave up 10 points from the second quarter on. So I think the attitude that Saquon has brought, he's brought a different attitude to that team. You can see him on the sidelines when he's mic'd up. The way that he goes around to the whole team and gets along with everybody, I think is huge. And so I think it's 1-2, Allen, Saquon. I don't think Allen, to your point, hasn't wrapped up the award yet. I think Saquon's win yesterday at Baltimore did more for his case than Josh Allen's win at home in the snow against the team from California, who's underachieved this year. So for me, the Eagles win against the Ravens was bigger than the Bills win against the 49ers. But it being on Sunday Night Football, prime time helps Josh Allen's case because everybody's watching that game rather than the 4:25 game. So I do think Josh Allen is the front runner for the general voter of MVP. But for me personally, Saquon's got a little bit of an edge just for.
Hey, if I had a vote, I'm voting Saquon. But I do think Josh Allen took that lead yesterday.
Yeah.
Real one. I want to vote Saquon because I hate the fact that it's a quarterback award, and I do think that he is, like I said, showing and improving. 1,000 yards in 4 quarters alone this season through week 13. But with last night's performance, Josh Allen becomes the second player to ever have 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown in the same game. The stat didn't mention who the other player was, so I'm guessing it was right around the time that they started taking care of these stats back in the day.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I mean, we're not going to ignore the fact that Saquon Barkley just went off for 300 yards.
300 of them things. 300 of them things.
I mean, it's there. It's there.
Monday Night Football tonight, gentlemen. Browns at Denver. Denver favorited by 6 points as of right now. This is the 3-8 Browns versus the 7-5 Broncos. I'm coming to you first, June. Pause. Because a Browns win here tonight would help your playoff chances immensely. Are you a Browns fan this evening?
You bet I am. I better see that Thursday night snow game type of football tonight. Um, I'm a Browns fan. I'm not a Browns believer though, and that's the separation for me. This is a good Broncos team who we talked down a little bit about Bo Nix. You know I'm in the city if you hear the sirens, by the way. But Bo Nix, what can we say? The man has rookie of the year numbers over the last 5 to 6 games. That's all I'm gonna say about Bo Nix. As far as the Broncos as a whole, they've been complimenting him. They're good pass rush, good offensive line. The receivers are getting open. Sean Payton's coaching well. On the other hand, we got a team who, I mean, faced everything as far as you can, everything you can as far as adversity goes this season, from quarterback issues, to coach on the hot seat conversations, right? Um, they came out and punched their toughest division rival this season in the mouth and won a game at home in the snow and the conditions, um, with their backup quarterback. So there's a lot of fight in them still, right? They haven't given up or quit. Jameis Winston has like the whole pregame speech thing he's got going on right now. Um, but I just don't think there's enough around to win against a Broncos team that knows what's in front of them and knows that this is a game that they should win. So, and they're at home. I got the Broncos in a good game. Go Browns.
Hmm. Hey, Kev, this line opened at Denver -5.5. It's moved to Denver -6.5. It's back to Denver -6. What do you make of the line movement? Do you think Cleveland can cover about a touchdown tonight?
I think it's like I think 6 is fair. I think that's probably why the line moved. Like I think a lot of you probably saw a lot on Cleveland, obviously. Like if the line moved the point, then you saw a lot of money go or I'm sorry, on Denver at first, and then people thinking I think it's around a 6 point, like a touchdown game. So um staying away from that line for sure. But just a yeah, I mean it's always fun to watch and see like what the public thinks and where the line's going to move like 10 minutes before kickoff, so that'll usually give you an idea of uh where the sharps are leaning towards, since they like to get their value out of the points. But uh I'm expecting a solid content out of Jameis Winston tonight. um he's
Even with that number 2 pass rush in Denver, man.
I just said solid content. Like I didn't say he's gonna have a good game. We're gonna get good content though. Like he's gonna give us some quotables. You might get a new Instagram caption out of him tonight. But
It says solid content.
41-degree weather. 41-degree weather. Thank God we're playing football tonight. Monday night. Can't wait.
That's Jameis.
Oh man. Hey, I might, I might, I might buy down Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like a +8, +7, maybe 7.5. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. Um, low
There's
scoring.
certain
I
teams.
can't. I can't. I can't just.
They're
I can't.
saying that Monday night has been this season. Sunday night has been the low scoring, and Monday night has been the high scoring games. They're saying over 41.5. But I don't care and I don't know. So don't listen to me. Listen to E. That's my motto.
Hey, let's take it over to college football. June, is our last image of Ryan Day at Ohio State going to be one of him staring at the scoreboard as he walked off, another Michigan loss on his resume?
I mean, he could go out and win a national championship and, they'll hug him again. But that's what he's got to make out of this. They've got to get
does
to
he
that
have to
playoff.
win a natty to keep his job in?
Yeah. 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 In my opinion, yes. Can't beat Michigan. 1-4. 1-4. You know what the fans? I'm not even a fan of Ohio State.
Does he have
what
one?
the fans? Yeah, he does. I think he's 1-4 against
He's lost.
against
I know
Ohio.
they lost the last four. I didn't even know he
Uh,
was the coach for
double fact check me, because hey, if we're proving the 0-5 or 0-4, even better than my point. But I think it's 1-4. Can't. This is the Super Bowl for Michigan and for Ohio State.
1-4. So he won the first
1-4,
one, and he's lost the last four.
and he's just lost.
There's an entire
Harbaugh's gone.
class of Ohio State players that has never beaten Michigan.
Yeah,
That fourth
yeah.
year
And there's
senior.
players that stayed. Yeah, Josh Downs' brother, Caleb Downs. Well, he stayed an extra year. Well, no, I think he's a junior. But there's kids on that team that stayed an extra year to play in this game, and win this game. And unfortunately, I mean, I'm not going to blame it all on Coach Day. I mean, Coach Kelly too, right? Coach Chip Kelly calling that offense. That offense scored 10 points yesterday. They couldn't get nothing, or on Saturday, they couldn't get nothing going on either way. And we knew that Michigan was going to struggle, with a quarterback who can't throw and a walk-on quarterback who has come along, I guess. But this is like the
This is
Ohio
the year to
State.
do it.
Yeah, I mean, this would no. I mean, by no chance did I think Michigan was going to win this game on Saturday. I didn't watch the game. I didn't want to watch the game because I didn't think it was going to be a game, and it ended up being a game that I was most tuned into. So credit to Michigan, though. Coming out and fighting. At the end of the day, you have enough hatred in your heart to beat a team that's way better than you. That's lit. They won that game off energy and attitude.
No,
So
Ohio State was saving their energy for after the game.
yeah, Ohio State, look, Michigan beat USC in a tough game like this earlier in the season, and USC is welcome to the Big Ten. They're not no Big Ten team for real, but again, Michigan struggles to move the ball downfield because they don't have any explosiveness with their offense. Ohio State, all the explosiveness was taken away with Will Johnson, their best corner prospect, out. So just big credit to Michigan, man. Oh, and Ryan Day, yes, you better win the national championship. For me, in my opinion, or I think that's it. They might not, because I don't know. Well, let me not get into that. I think that's his job.
Kev?
If he comes into the playoff, which they won't have a first round bye anymore, so, and who knows, they may host a playoff game, but yeah, if they end up losing first round, I think it's obviously going to be an end to his time at Ohio State. I think if he maybe gets a couple wins in the playoffs, then he might be safe, but I can't foresee him losing to Michigan and then going into the playoff and losing round one and coming back next year.
So that means that if you win the first two playoff games and then you come in next year and lose to Michigan on the road, you just fire him on the road. Don't even let him back. This was your chance. You knew what it was when last year. So don't even trip. We're not gonna fire you now, but lose next year. See if your ass get back on that team playing.
Oh man. Hey, Georgia Tech.
Well,
go, Kev.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if Ohio State wasn't, if that would have knocked him out of the playoff, then I think he would have been like, I don't think he has a job today, but they still have a playoff that they can win. This team is still good enough to win a national championship.
No, there's a whole prize ahead of them, but this right here it just means so much,
Yeah.
So,
Hey, I remember when Jim Tressel sat in his press conference and said, the one game we will not lose is the game against Michigan.
Shout out to Jim Tressel.
Yeah, big facts. Georgia Tech travels to Athens and almost pulls off the upset. June, Georgia on to the SEC championship against Texas. What does their resume tell you about their season?
They don't got. I think college football's parity is something to really, really look at going forward. That's what I'll say. Kirby Smart got his run and got up out of there. He ain't get up out of there because he's still there. But he got his money and grabbed enough to where if he don't win again, he's straight. Technically, you know what I'm saying? They won enough. But bro, anybody could win. Anybody could win any given week. We've seen Lenore Sellers as a freshman go toe to toe with, a Heisman candidate early in the season, Jalen Milroe with Alabama, and lose the game on, overthrow. He overthrew an opportunity, and we saw we saw Alabama go down to the wire multiple times, Georgia go down to the wire multiple times, Penn State go down to the wire. These are top teams in the country, and so I think what Georgia's resume tells me is that they're good enough to beat any team in college football and win another national championship this year, which they they might just do. But at the same time, they're not the same UGA that we've seen in the last few years of this Kirby Smart era. And I think a lot of that is because of Carson Beck.
Kev.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that Georgia game, hoping that they would lose because I knew what happened earlier in the day in Syracuse was, you know, what Georgia lost would have helped Miami a little bit. But I love the announcers like Georgia wins this game and they are for sure in the playoff. So that was fun to hear ESPN, given the
Pushing
SEC.
the agenda.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like June just said, like the parity now in college football, especially with the realigning of the conferences. Like you have the SEC adding Texas to it and Oklahoma is in a down year this year, but still, able to beat Alabama. So, able to beat Alabama. So, uh, it's I think going forward, like we're going to see a lot less teams run the table and go undefeated than we're used to. Like we're used to seeing two undefeated teams sometimes in the national championship. I don't think we'll see that again, maybe ever. Like I think now
Yeah.
with the way the SEC and the Big Ten are set up, and who knows what's to come with the ACC and the Pac-12 and all the rest of the conferences moving forward. I think seeing two undefeated teams in the national championship is like going to be very rare going forward. So I think 3-loss teams are still going to get the opportunity and even get to the national championship. But uh, interesting week, like the way everything went down. Interesting week in college football. An unfortunate one for us Canes fans, but
Man.
Uh, uh,
Kev,
yeah. I'm gonna let June take
therapy
over.
session real quick. Can we talk about the Hurricanes and what a season it was and how it was all for nothing possibly at this point, and understanding that there is still a chance at a playoff if the gods are good to us, but also understanding that regardless of any of that, we had the best quarterback in school history who led the nation in many things, and we still can't even get to a conference championship. Can we just talk about the defense and how, you know, when we're scratching and clawing and need one stop, we can't get it, or all game for that matter. Um, Having defensive linemen and pass coverage. Uh, Go ahead, Kev.
I think the biggest thing of like the entire season, and it's crazy because it worked both ways this season with this team, was no lead ever felt safe for anyone, whether the Hurricanes were down or whether they were up. The lead never felt safe in a game. Like up 21-0 against Syracuse, I thought to myself, now is a great time to play Syracuse money line because for whatever reason, like you could just feel it with Miami. Like you feel it. There, it's not you're scoring points, but you're scoring off of talent. You have so much talent on that offensive side of the football that you can run whatever and you're going to put up 21 points quick. But once the defense catches on, your schemes aren't like you're not out scheming anyone. You're not out coaching anybody. It's in that moment where you realize like we're winning games based off of the talent on this team, not because of the coaching on this team. So yeah, I mean, like that's a rough way to go out. Like if they don't make a playoff, that's the last game we see Cam. I wouldn't expect Cam Ward to come back and play just a meaningless bowl game So that could have been Cam Ward's last game as Hurricanes quarterback. If it was, shout out to Cam Ward. Fucking hell of a season. Like, what a season for Cam Ward,
Facts.
and upped his draft class. Like, proved himself. Like, showed
Top 5
everybody.
pick.
Like, came to Miami. People questioned him why he was coming to Miami, and he turned himself into first round top 5, maybe probably top 3 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. And all the arm talent that I've ever seen in a Hurricanes quarterback. Probably too much arm talent for his own good, because I think sometimes he thinks he can make throws that he just shouldn't make. But they end up working out half the time also. So it's what makes him special. And I think we're gonna miss Cam Ward next season. I'm looking forward to seeing who we have play quarterback next year, because it's going to be a tough act to follow up. So hopefully things fall the right way for Miami, and Cam is able to get back in a uniform and at least give it one more shot at a road to a national championship. Because although this defense is bad, this is a bad defense. We've lost the 2 games we've lost have been by less than a touchdown. Like, this offense, I think, can score with anybody.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that's, is frustrating. And
this offense needs to be on TV. That's the thing about the playoff that they need to understand. This offense can't miss the playoff. And I understand, like, you shit the bed, but Georgia Tech took Georgia to 8 overtimes. That's your first loss. And then, Syracuse, it's a bowl eligible team on the road conference play, and we didn't get whooped. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get whooped. We just couldn't stop them. And so I hope the college football playoff gods will get us.
I mean, you look at, like, Bama's losses, and they lose to 6-6
Whoop.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
they
they've
lose-
scored 3 points against Oklahoma, bro.
and they lose right, and they 2 losses to 6-6 teams, like, who don't have near the resume of the other 2 teams that Miami lost to. So, in close games, like, they lost Miami's both games were games that could have easily gone the other way. So, granted, Miami also pulled a couple out of their ass, but
Yeah. That's what winning
that's what
teams
you
can
gotta
do,
do.
though. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's a 10-win team. So, in all, I want to say this too: like 10 wins from 7, from 6. I am overall, excited for the future of the program and where things have come to. But as far as where things have gotten to this season, the expectation upped, and
Yep.
it was playoff. And we got to step in there and own that. And so right now we got to wait till tomorrow night, right? Is it
But
tomorrow night
yeah, but then
or next
obviously,
week?
well, tomorrow night the rankings will be released, but then we also obviously have conference championship weekend where things will kind of
Hopefully
take
SMU
more
wins.
shape.
Mhm.
I mean, I could also see SMU losing, and Miami's still not getting in. But
Yeah, of course. But I don't think we get in if they lose at all.
right, yeah.
So
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where the committee puts Miami, because they have technically given them a little bit of respect as the years gone
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I think, I think the committee understands what the offense is. Like, they're the best offense in the country, and I think that does say something.
Heisman fucking finalist.
Heisman candidate. So I do think there's going to be maybe a little bit of gratitude extended towards that Hurricanes team. I hope
Optimistic
so.
thinking, Kev.
What was that, June? My fault. Oh, good.
I said
Awesome.
optimistic thinking, Kev.
Whew. Bryce Young has thrown for 561 yards in the last 2 games. June, real quick, something that Carolina can look forward to, or is this just kind of
Of
street?
course. Yeah. Somebody who has talent. We saw his clips at Alabama. They have nothing to play for right now or for the foreseeable next year and a half because what are the Panthers going to do next year, let's be honest. So just let him keep getting reps and show you he can rip the football if you help protect and give him weapons. That's what I think.
Russell Wilson, 5-1 in 6 starts in Pittsburgh this year. Kev, is this the most cost-effective acquisition in the offseason this year?
Shit, that might be Saquon still. I mean,
Mhm.
Saquon right now is looking worth every single penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not a bad And Justin Fields played great too. So if by chance Russell does go down, you have a good option at
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah. He also sealed the game-winning drive right there.
Junior boy Ovi back on ice skates 2 weeks after breaking his fibula. Do you want to give any remarks on this?
Where is he from?
I want to say Russia, but I could be wrong.
He is Russian,
He
brother.
is Russian. Yep.
He is Russian. That's all I got to say about that.
He's
I'm surprised he wasn't back last week. What the fuck?
the doctor said it's broken. He said, so fix it.
Right.
Hey man, he is on the road to break the one person that we call the Great Ones all-time scoring record in Wayne Gretzky at 895. Ovi, good to see you back on skates. I look forward to you getting that number. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross over this hour 1 minute mark, this has been your Monday night All Things Sports talk show on the All Things Sports Network. If you tuned in live, we appreciate you so much. Brill, thank you. Appreciate you. If you're tapping after the fact, thank you for doing so.
Breathe.
June's going to the Rangers game tonight. I'm kind of jealous. New Jersey in town. That's going to be dope at the Garden. You enjoy that, man. We are back next week. Appreciate you all.